Now, Courtney Kemp did an Instagram live on Tuesday, and as usual, she answered a few questions and gave us a bit more insight into some characters. For example, how we can expect Kane to become a lot more wiser and wiser as the season goes on. She also said Lorenzo has more family that we're gonna see, so I do think we're gonna see more of Lorenzo's people, especially when he's released from prison. But most importantly, this video will mainly focus on Mecca and the chef. She said how we need to keep an eye on the chef, and the question is, could he even be the boss and the brains behind the whole drug empire that Mecca seems to have? Or could he even be Mecca's bodyguard, an assassin, someone who gets shit done and gets shit done right? So we're going to be diving deep into all of the main key topics Power Book 2 Ghost related from Courtney Kemp's live. But of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. Let's start with the chef and Mecca as well. And I'm just going to play the clips of what Courtney Kemp said, and then we'll break it down in terms of the storyline and characters.
Love your name. Who's Mecca chef? He's suspicious. Keep your eye on chef. Keep your eye. Why is Mecca hiding from Monet that he's a new plug? Why do you think? Why do you think he didn't just like walk up to her door and maybe just say, hey, I'm back. I know you're married, but like, I just like to reconnect. Why do you think maybe he wanted to get in another way? I mean, a lot of you guys have been around a long time. You're really hardcore Power fans. You know how my brain works, right? So what do you think he's up to?
So we need to keep an eye on the chef, and why did Mecca choose to enter Monet's life the way he did? Now on the chef part, he's someone that's definitely got a bigger role in Mecca's organization. What that is, we're just gonna have to wait and see. He seems like he knows a lot more about Mecca. For example, how he went to Kuwait, and he was better at keeping secrets than Nuff is. And I do think Mecca and the chef are up to something, and he'll play a bigger role as the season goes on. Sometimes the face of the business doesn't necessarily mean they're the big boss, so there's a lot of people who think Mecca is the face of the business and the chef is the boss, but I don't think so. But what I do think he could be is someone who has ample amounts of skill, agility, and someone who isn't afraid to kill and protect Mecca, and this is why he has him around as a chef, mainly to protect him if necessary. So to me the chef definitely gives off some vibes that maybe he's an assassin, so I really wouldn't be surprised if we see him at some point in the season where he deals with a body or two for Mecca. But with the second clip, we're going to learn a lot more about Mecca as the season goes on, and why he's kept it a secret that he's the plug, and why didn't he just announce to Monet that he was back and rekindle their relationship that they had when they were kids. It's because a lot has happened since then. It's been 24 years since they last saw each other, and everything's completely changed. Monet's not Nene Stewart anymore, she's Monet Tejada. She's married and she's got 3 kids and she runs a bar. But Mecca knew all of this before he reintroduced himself to Monet. He did all the research beforehand. He knew who Kane was, he knew about her family, and Lorenzo. Kane told him that he's in prison for life, but he doesn't know that he'll be out soon, and neither does anyone else. But he did a full-on background check and reintroduced himself into her life the way he did, because he has another motive for Monet and the Tejadas beyond the family business. He's got a bigger plan for them, which Monet's not seeing. He goes by this alias Mecca, so even if Kane was to say the plug and connect he has is called Mecca, she won't know it's Dante, because to her, he's just an international businessman who has an importing and exporting business, and he's showing her what she can have if she has a life with him. But I think it runs deeper than this. Mecca's playing the biggest game of chess on Power at the moment. He's got Kane playing this position. It seems like he's pulling on Monet's heartstrings again. He's also controlling Tariq by having Kane get to Brayden. So he's in full control, playing all of these moves. But what happens when Kane finds out what his plan is and who he really is?
Kane won't like that Mecca played him to get to Monet. How does he think this will work? Ooh, that's such a good question, She Loves Bennett. When Kane finds out that Mecca has been playing with him this whole time, what do you guys think he's going to do? What is Kane going to do when he finds out that Mecca has been doing this? And just curious, do you think that he'll do it by himself? Do you think he'll need help? Do you think he'll get away with it? Do you think that Kane actually could in some way harm Mecca? Or do you think Mecca would harm Kane?
Now, this is definitely going to happen at some point, because Mecca's been keeping a secret about who he really is and what his real motives are, and how he already knows Monet from their childhood. We all saw how he put Nuff to sleep when he started talking about how Mecca's been love struck ever since he got into New York over someone. So Kane will find out at some point, it's just a matter of how and when. But what will he do when he finds out? That's the question. Will he then turn on Mecca and bring him down? For me, it's way too early for someone like Kane to even touch Mecca and plot against him. We all saw the way Kane looked shook when he choked out Nuff and put him to sleep, and also when he broke Lil Guap's fingers. Both of these moves by Mecca were just there to show his power and to show Kane what happens if you don't stay in line. so Kane will have to learn his ways, just like how Tommy did with Milan. Tommy got into the inside of Milan's organization and manipulated him and built this trust with him before he was able to bring him down. But he also needed the outside help of Dre, 2-Bit and their crew, as well as Ghost and Tasha. Now, if Kane really is family first, when he does find out, and if he does intend to bring Mecca down, then he's gonna need some help. I think he'll need the help of Tariq and maybe Brayden as well. But whose side would Kane even pick when push comes to shove? Especially when Lorenzo is released, will he show his loyalty to his family or will he show loyalty to Mecca? And this brings me on to Lorenzo having more family.
Get rich, Trevu. Does Lorenzo have other family? Yes, and you will see them.
So Lorenzo seems to have more family that we're yet to see, but we will see them soon, and we'll probably see them when Lorenzo is released from prison, especially when he realizes that Monet is losing control of their family and has been sleeping with Mecca, and not just Mecca, but Ramirez in the past as well. And if we're going to see a war between Lorenzo and Mecca at some point, then Lorenzo's going to need some soldiers. Most of the GTG have been killed, but there is Lil Guap and probably not many more alive, so introducing us to his family definitely makes sense. But as I mentioned, Monet is losing control over her kids and her ability to keep them safe. So let's see what Courtney Kemp said on this.
Which is, what is Monet's biggest fear this season? Is it being caught or losing control? The thing is, for Monet, I think losing control is the scariest possible thing. She's such a vulnerable character. I know that the audience doesn't experience her that way all the time because they experience her as being so tough on those kids. But the reality is she's like that because she's afraid of losing control. She's so terrified of not being able to control her world because controlling her world keeps her kids safe. And that's really her thing.
So Monet's scared about not being able to keep control over her kids because that's what keeps her kids safe, her control. But she did the complete opposite of keeping Zeke safe because she put him in even more danger when she refused to teach him some of the aspects from the street life. She didn't need to teach Zeke everything, but it would have been useful if he knew some information. For example, Ramirez being killed, because then he would never have pulled out the PBA card, and that was all on Monet. She failed to protect Zeke in this situation. They wanted to punish Monet for not telling him more because she thinks she knows best when she's wrong about people. For example, how she's wrong about Diana and how Diana is going to prove that she's capable of moving weight and going school. Now Zeke did a similar thing. He may not be built for these streets, but he held it down when he was being questioned. So Monet should have put more trust in him with the information about Ramirez. But coming away from the Tejadas and the Tejada split and Mecca, let's talk about Brayden, Tariq and Kane.
Why is Kane using Brayden to screw over Tariq? Well, I think part of that is get Tariq where he is, where he's softest, which is Brayden, obviously. But I also think that this is a really interesting point. Kane is wising up, and you guys are going to see Kane get smarter and smarter and smarter. On this same topic, a G-Code 7 asks, how will Kane help Brayden's character development? Well, Brayden is actually going to be tested. He's actually going to see, instead of just like, oh, it's cool to be in the life, like he's actually going to come up against it. And I think that's really, really interesting.
So we're going to see Kane wise up and show us how smart he is. And Kane's character is actually modeled after Sonny Corleone from The Godfather. And if you think about it this way, the reason why Kane is wising up is because he's been forced through Monet throwing Kane out of the house. It forced Kane to realize he has to make it on his own. He's got no choice but to make it on his own, whereas before, he was just taking orders from Monet and he had this family business where he played a specific position. But now he had to create this position himself, which we saw in episode 2 with the powdered sugar move. And we're also going to see him wedge himself between Brayden and Tariq even more, which he learned from his mentor Mecca. But elsewhere in her life, she also mentioned why Tariq is holding on to Yaz so much, and it's mainly because he contributed towards the demise of his own family. He partly feels responsible for Raina's death. He of course killed Ghost, and then he sent Tasha into Witsec. So Yaz is the only person he's got left from his family, and he wants to hold on to her. And I do think when Tariq gets his own apartment and starts to live with Yaz, they're setting us up for Yaz to find out who Tariq really is and what he's done in the past to break up their family. Now, she also teased, does Mecca know Ghost or Tommy? Possibly, they may have heard about Ghost, but not everybody is connected or knows who Ghost was. Tommy was never one to hide, so who knows, we'll have to wait and see. But those were the main talking points from Courtney Kemp's live, all Power Book 2 Ghost related. So definitely let me know your thoughts on the chef. Do you think he could be the boss? Or do you think he could be this assassin type of player on Mecca's chessboard that Mecca has around him for protection? Drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.